This is good lettuce. How did all you people get in my house? Welcome to Haul Yeah Comics. My name is Nate and I have issues. Today's issues are pretty random, but I picked them up in some pretty random places, so I guess that makes sense. Before we get started today, I need to do two very quick shout outs. First one is to Hagen at Lettuce Comics. Hagen is doing a giveaway on his channel where he wanted to get me to 50 subscribers. Well, mission accomplished. He's also created a stretch goal trying to get me to 100 subscribers. I'm just very touched and flattered that he's doing this, so please go check his channel out if you're not already a subscriber. My second shout out goes to Matt at Matt Likes Comics. Matt and I just filmed a comic book hangout for his channel that's going to be available on June 22nd, so please check out his channel as well. Matt's a great guy. He and I both love DC, and we both love the Silver Age. So thank you to both of those gentlemen who have shouted me out and tried to get me more subscribers, and if you're one of those people who's here, I appreciate you being here. Thanks so much. Now let's check out some books. The first book I've got to show you is Justice League of America, issue number 130. This one goes with my body horror and body transformation cover buying part of my collection. In this story, there is an alien here, and you can kind of see him. He's the purple part, and he is able to steal body parts from the different members of the Justice League and then use their powers against the other members of the Justice League. So this was kind of a fun little story, and it reminded me of those old toys from the 80s. I think they were called the Centurions, where you could pull them apart and put them back together. So Justice League, issue number 130. Next up is Prez, issue 3. I have issue 1 of this, and I talked about it before. It's only a 4-issue series. I don't have issue number 2 or 4. I want to get this whole set because this is such a bizarre book. Prez is the story of the first teenage president. He's 18 years old. 18-year-olds get the right to vote, and they lower the voting age to elect an 18-year-old to be the president. It's a very hippie book. There's a lot of hippie stuff in it. It's a product of its time, the late 70s, but it also feels a little dated for its time. In this one, there's an assassination plot against the teenage president. I want to see what happened in issue 2 leading up to this, and I want to see how or if they wrap it up in issue 4. So Prez is a weird book from the 70s that I recommend you check out if you have the chance. And then next is, I have a thing for picking up Christmas issues of books. So DC especially does holiday specials. This is one from a few years ago, I think 2009. Frank Quitely art on the front. This was a DC Universe holiday special number 1. And you know, Frank Quitely's an either you love him or you don't kind of artist. Personally, I love him. I like his style. I do think it's very unique and very cool. Another book that I've had for quite a while that fits with this is the DC Superstar Holiday Special. This cover has always jumped out to me. You've got everybody heading towards the Christmas star, and I mean, look at Batman. I've never seen Batman so happy, and he really wants you to travel with him to the Christmas star, so I think you should. The last Christmas special that I already had, and I think I may have bought this as a kid at the grocery store. When you would go check out, they would have like little racks that had Archie Digest or these little DC, I don't remember Marvel ones, but DC Digest, and this is Christmas with the Superheroes. This is from 1982, and this has stories from the Justice League, Batman, very old Golden Age Sandman. There's a Teen Titans story in here that is a retelling of the Christmas Carol. It also has, this was my first introduction to John Stewart as the Green Lantern. So this book is one that I've had and read many, many times. So whenever I see a Christmas special, I make sure that I pick them up. And this one here, I was glad to get. This is Christmas with the Superheroes. Hey, look, Christmas with the Superheroes. Christmas with the Superheroes. So this is Christmas with the Superheroes special number 2. That made me excited because that means there's a number 1 out there for me to find as well and add to my collection. And I just love to see all the superheroes. They're up here in Santa's workshop, and they're all pitching in with the elves, trying to help make Christmas happen for everybody. Isn't that nice? I was also able to pick up quite a few books of runs that I'm trying to complete. This is Trinity Angels number 8. Now this one kind of was a bit of a dud, but I'm going to continue with it. Kevin Maguire is probably my favorite artist of all time. He was the artist on Justice League International, and Trinity Angels is a book that he wrote, and he illustrated, I know, at least the first couple because I have those. When I found number 8 in a dollar bin, I grabbed it. Unfortunately, when I went to read it, he does not do the interior art, but he did do the cover and he did write it, and he is an artist and creator that I want to support. So I'll keep on getting these. I was able to get 2 more issues of Booster Gold. So I got issue number 12 and I got issue number 15. I was also able to get issue number 35 of Captain Atom with him and Major Force on the cover. A great early issue of The Defenders, number 37, and I love Luke Cage Power Man, and I love how prominent he is on the cover for this particular issue. This one guest stars the Guardians of the Galaxy, though it's probably not the Guardians of the Galaxy you're thinking of, at least not the way that the MCU has portrayed them for sure. So this was a cool one to get. And the next 4 are all related to John Ostrander's Grimjack. Grimjack is a series that I really, really enjoy from the 80s, published by First Comics. I was able to get issue number 2, so this is the earliest issue that I have. I also got issue number 34, and then issue number 54. So this one kind of jumped around a little bit, but whenever I can find one that I don't have, I'm gonna grab it. And then this last one was really cool to me. So this is Munden's Bar Annual, and I believe this is the second one. There might even be another one for this. If you look at the cover, you can see that it's got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on it. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles appeared in color for the first time in a Grimjack comic book, and the story is that the city that Grimjack lives in and the bar that he frequents, Munden's Bar, is kind of this multiverse hub. So characters from all over and independent-owned characters like the Turtles are able to come over as long as their creators are willing to bring them. So it's really cool to me that you can get a story like this. And I think had I not been a Grimjack reader, I never would have known from that title that this was going to be a Grimjack book. I was really excited to get this because it's not just the Turtles that show up in here. There are a lot of different independent creations as well. There's Omaha the Cat Dancer, Milk and Cheese, just other 90s properties, 80s and 90s properties that were independent comics at the time that cross over into this book, and I think that is super cool. I'm working on a lot of Star Trek runs. So this is Star Trek, the original series. I've got issues number 2 and 4. This is volume 1. This volume took place right after Star Trek III, The Search for Spock. What I really liked finding, I found these Who's Who in Star Trek, and they are so cool. Number 1, they're wraparound covers. So you get art all the way around. Who's Who was a book in the 1980s and 90s where DC would do kind of like character breakdowns, first appearances, important information about different characters. They would get an artist to do a portrait of that person or that character, and then they would, give you their bio and things. Like right here, here's Spock's. And this looks exactly like the Who's Who from that they would do for superheroes, but they did these two specifically for characters from the Star Trek universe. So I was really excited to get this. I think it's really cool. I might actually, get some more information about characters that I watch on the shows that I didn't know. Right on the cover here, we've got Kirk and we've got Khan. So cool. On this one here, we've got Spock, Uhura, and Harry Mudd. This was a great find. I didn't even know that this existed, so I love finding books like this, and I'm gonna tear through this. Who's Who is one of my favorite things to read through and just get more information. I also like to find out when people's first appearances were, and if I can track those down, find them as well. Next up, I've got some issues of Warlord. Warlord is a creation of Mike Grell. It is kind of a swords and sorcery book. It's a story of a SR-71 pilot who ends up inside a hollow earth, and he becomes the Warlord. This is issue number 2. I have his first appearance, I have issue 1, and this is issue 2. It is unfortunately in very rough shape. I have issue 3, issue 6. I love the cat on the front cover here. I love the outfit that Warlord is wearing. Like he goes into this like unitard thing. I don't understand it. He starts off wearing a flight suit, but then it's either in the first issue or first appearance. When he puts this on, he says something about, now I'm ready. Interesting. This is issue 9 right here. And then this annual is way later in the run. This is number 3. So this would probably be about 3 years into his run. check out what Travis Morgan changes into later. He decides that maybe the unitard is a little too constricting, and he puts on some battle armor here, where he is not that protected. But I really like this. I really like this series. I like the way that it mixes in different science fiction and fantasy aspects. It feels very John Carter of Mars, but it is its own thing, and it's a lot of fun to read. Marvel's Dazzler is a run that I am just absolutely in love with, and it only ran for 42 issues. This is issue number 41, and it almost fits with my body horror cover buying, because if you take a look at that face there, that's not pleasant to look at. This is Dazzler's second costume. It's the one that I don't like very much. This is a kind of rough copy. It's fine because it's just something that I'm going to read, but if I did see this for $1 and it was in better shape, I would totally pick it up. The next issue though, this is so cool. Now, number one, this was a fun read. This is issue number 26. This is a Joe Jusko. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name, but he did the cover, and I think it looks really good. That's one of the things about Dazzler is, right back here, her covers, they catch your eye and they make you want to read the story. This story was absolutely insane. Her sister or half-sister starts developing mutant powers. She gets accosted by this homeless person who's like really aggressive with her, and her power kills him. And then later on, when she's wandering around the city, she finds her way back home and she's playing with her cat in her apartment, and the cat scratches her, as cats are, gonna do because they're cats. And she zaps the cat with the same power that she killed the homeless person with. So I'm not so sure about Dazzler's sister. She doesn't seem to have a good head on her shoulders. She seems to go from zero to murder really quickly. But here's the thing. This one here is the first comic I've ever got that is a Mark Jeweler variant. I don't know what that means. I hear everybody talk about it. Everybody wants the Mark Jeweler, right? I don't know what it is that makes it desirable, aside from the fact that it's more rare, it's harder to find. But I was just sitting in bed reading this, and I come to the middle and find this Mark Jeweler's ad, and I thought, wow, I finally own one. I don't think that makes this worth a dang thing over the $1 that I paid for it. This was a really fun read. I think it's I guess I think it's a cool kind of piece of comic book history or whatever. It being a Mark Jeweler's makes it cool, but it doesn't make it more desirable to me. I was just happy to have a cool Dazzler story to read. Okay, so up next I have a lot of first issues. If I see a first issue and it's cheap, I pick it up almost every time. Up first is a book that I have multiple copies of. As I have said before, I'm an idiot. I don't always do a great job of getting my books cataloged and know what I have, and then I see something and I say, I'm not sure I have that, so I grab it, and then I get home and I find out I've got it already, sometimes twice, sometimes 3 times. I believe this is my 3rd copy of NFL Super Pro Special Edition number 1. The thing about this is, I also have the regular edition of number 1. This one came in a poly bag, so it came sealed and it came with these cards. This one that I bought this one at a garage sale, and it was just in a regular bag, and the person had put the cards in there. So I thought, why not go ahead and open those up and see what we got? I'm not sure how this is different from the regular number 1. The cover is different, and like I said, it came with these cards. All right, so the first card is NFL Super Pro. You could see that one outside of the package. We got a Barry Sanders card. Joe Montana. I don't know anything about sports, but I know that name. Holy cow, it's Bo Jackson. Remember all those commercials? Bo knows this, Bo knows that. And then the last one is somebody named Mark Carrier, and I don't know who he is at all. I hope he carries the football though, because it seems like a waste of his name if he doesn't. I don't know why I bought that. I wanted to open up the cards because the other copy that I have is still sealed, and now that I've opened the cards, I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. This was dumb. Sorry. Continuing with number 1s, I don't know how I missed this. I have every other issue of All-Star Superman except number 1. So I found this one at Half Price Books. I think it was only like $3. Again, Frank Quitely art, Grant Morrison story. I really, really enjoyed this. Somehow I missed getting the number 1. Now I have all 12 issues. It's always good to have a complete run. I don't know why I bought this, aside from the fact that it was a number 1, and it's another one of these DC Maxi series. This is Amethyst Princess of Gem World. I pick up first issues, I pick up last issues. I'm into oddities. This one feels like an oddity. So I picked it up. I fully intend to give it a read, and I am afraid that it's going to awaken something within me and I'm going to end up with all 12 issues of this series. I'm going to end up with all 12 issues of this series. Next, number 1 is Atari Force. Atari Force is a book that I don't remember at all. I bought this because I have a who's who. I was flipping through it and there were all these strange characters who I had no idea who they were. I believe it might even be this little blue guy here, might be the one that I was reading their entry and I'm just like, are they from the Omega Men? Are they from the Legion of Superheroes? And I look and their first appearance was Atari Force number 1. So when I saw this in a bin and it was cheap, I went ahead and grabbed it. This one ran 20 some issues as well. It's one of those books, I just kind of want to have the number 1 to have it. I'm not going to actively track down the rest, but they're going to cross my path and I'm probably going to buy them. The last number 1 that I picked up is this. A-Team number 1. If you're a child of the 80s, I loved 80s television. It was what I did as a kid. I watched TV, and the A-Team was a blast. The A-Team was the story of these 4 Vietnam veterans who were convicted of a crime they did not commit, and they just kind of traveled the country in a van, and they solved problems for people. They would shoot guns all the time, but no one ever got shot. They would crash vehicles constantly. I mean, they would crash vehicles all the time. They would drive them off cliffs and into walls and into each other, and people would just crawl out of them afterwards. They wanted this to be kid friendly. So even though it was like super violent, there was never any like real world repercussions for what they did. A-Team number 1 just hit that nostalgia button for me. Mr. T is an 80s icon for sure, and this show was just huge. And everyone in my elementary school would talk about the episodes when they came out. All right, so last up is the flea market find of my life. I could not believe this. My dad has a booth at a flea market. He gave me a call and he had let me know that a vendor was putting out 2 long boxes of comic books. And my dad says, hey, nobody's picked through these yet. He just bought them at a garage sale. You should come and check them out. Well, the thing is, I had just bought, a ton of books off of Whatnot and eBay auctions. And I thought the last thing I need to do is go spend more money. But, you know, that part of my FOMO part of my brain starts kicking in. And so I grab my son and we go to the flea market. We're flipping through. I did find a few books that were worth grabbing for my own personal collection. But when I saw this one, I stopped dead because I couldn't believe it. For $2. For $2. We've got Amazing Spider-Man issue 361. This is the first appearance of Carnage. I am not an Amazing Spider-Man collector. This is a book that is in really, really good shape. And my intent with this is to take this to a comic shop and do a little trading for something that I do want. So I was able to make out like a bandit on this. This is a book that has a lot more value than just the $2 I paid, and I'm hoping I can use it to trade up to something pretty big for myself that I do want. So this is just one of those things where you're like, how does this end up? How does this end up in a box of $2 comics? I guess just was something that he didn't realize what the value was when he put it out. And yeah, I was really glad to snag this. So that was today's haul. I appreciate you sticking around to the end here. One of the things that I have enjoyed the most about making these videos is interacting with you in the comments. I have gotten so many nice comments and questions and things, and it's just great to be able to meet people from other places and people who are into the books I'm into and people who know more about it than I do. So I implore you, if you have any book that jumped out at you, if you have any question, please leave me a comment below. I've been doing my absolute best to respond to everybody that leaves me a comment. And it's just been probably the most fun part of this, which is a little bit surprising for me. Again, before I go, please go check out Lettuce Comics, go check out Matt Likes Comics, and I appreciate you guys so much. I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Wonder what the record is for the most salad stuck in someone's braces. Gross. I'm gonna burp. Must be all that lettuce I ate. You're good at this. Be good at this.